Welcome to Omastruestories. This is Shola's story. Listen and learn few things that might be helpful to you or someone you may know. My name is Shola. I turned 21 in January of 2024. I am the eldest of my siblings, Anu 11 and Damilola 9 years old. I am from Ogun State. My father died in a car accident on his way back from Kaduna when I was 14 years old. He was an interstate truck driver that carried goods for individuals and small companies. My mother, left with nothing, was faced with the responsibility of my siblings and I at that very young age of 14, 4, and 2. Due to the struggle and hardship that my mother was facing doing farm work and carrying loads for people, which is the only way she can afford to put food on our table, as well as pay for my secondary school education and that of sisters in primary school at the time, I skipped school severally to assist her in most of the work. The years slowly went by, the suffering increased. I dropped out of secondary at a point. I started getting harassed by men and boys my age, even older men. The first one was our neighbor's son, who promised to give me money if I allow him deflower me. After he deflowered me, he never gave me money, but instead he gave me food and continued to give me food each time he slept with me. Until they moved out of the Face Me and I Face You compound we all lived at the time. Then I started sleeping with any man that says he likes me and shows me money. Sometimes I get 3,000, sometimes 4,000 naira. The highest I got was 10,000 naira from a married man who lived on our street. Everything changed when I contacted a deadly infection. The infection was so bad that it nearly killed me. I had no money to treat it and my mother was helpless. She was forced to sell her remaining good wrappers to take me to the hospital. I suffered that infection for 6 months until it finally healed. From then onwards, I decided never to sleep with any man again and assured my mother that no matter what, I was done irrespective of who or what they have to offer. I had a friend called Flora. Flora was at the same secondary school as me before I dropped out. I see her few times when I need to ask her for little sum of money. She and her mother were also struggling. Her father was a drunk at the time, so they expected nothing from him while her mother sold mama put. On this day, Flora came to see me and told me she had found a lasting solution to our struggling and poverty. I mean, who will not jump to that? It was as if I just heard the best news of my life. I told her I would do anything as long as it had nothing to do with sleeping with men. But she said, far from it. So she took me to a native doctor's place. According to her, the man is her relative, but she distanced herself from him, but chose to get back closer for help since nothing was working with her mother or father. She also told me it was this relative that gave her money. Few times she helped me with money. When I asked, I accepted to do whatever he asked since he was her relative and the only one that was willing to help at the time. The day we arrived at his place, he asked Flora to leave, that he needed to be with me alone. He first asked me to strip naked in front of him, which I did. After staring at me and making incantations, he asked me to lie down and open my legs, which I did. Then he used his tongue to do nasty things on my private part for 1 hour before he asked me to stand up and wear my clothes back. He later gave me a soap and a cream and asked me to bath with the soap and cream my body with it when I get home. And on the same day, I should come outside my compound at 12 midnight when everyone will be asleep, kneel for 10 minutes and go back inside. Then report back to him after 1 week. But this time alone without Flora, I left on that day hoping that things will change after all whole rituals. I did everything he asked me to do and waited for the 1 week to report. Days passed, the 1 week seemed like 1 year. Finally, it was time for me to head back to the shrine and complete the money ritual process. But before I left home, I hugged my mother and assured her that after I get back, I will take her away from the situation that we were in.